Hello everybody, welcome to this special video on the hummingbird cake. Now I'm a bit late getting this to you because I wanted to do this little entry video to actually share a little bit about how I got to this process of recording the cake. Now a couple of weeks ago I had a brand new owner reach out and say, hey, I wonder if we've got a hummingbird cake on cookie dough. Now I went through, no we do not. She said, I've got one and I love it, and how do I put it up? Now, being a brand new owner, it's sometimes a bit daunting to go through a process of converting a recipe from good old books or websites or wherever it might be onto a Thermomix. So I was able to take her through that process and then create this video for her. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of how we can put our recipes. You can tell I've taken a little bit of it's been a bit crazy today. You can even see my videos a bit sideways. We've had all sorts of crazy here. Floors have been ripped up today and all sorts. So anyway, let's get back to it. Cookie Dough 3.0. So if you've got the $69 a year subscription, you can add your own. There's three ways of doing it, right? The first way is type it in yourself. Now, I'm not familiar with a hummingbird cake. I had never made one. So me typing up my own recipe, I could do, but I'd be guessing the time, the temps, the speeds, all that jazz, right? So the second thing you can do is, if there was one on Cookie Dough, but you had a few tweaks to it, you could do that. That wasn't an option. There was not one on Cookie Dough. Option 3 is to upload from Recipe Community. And that's actually what I was able to do. So today I'm going to quickly step you through how I chose which recipe to upload, what I did from there, and then how I got it over, and then you'll watch the video on how to actually make the cake and my fumble through the cream cheese at the end where I tried to do lots when it was too cold still. So let me bring up now, I'm going to bring over the top of this, and by the way, before I do, see, you can see it on my screen, okay? It's guided there, it's got my picture, it's good to go. I can share this with you as well. I'll see if I can embed that into the comment section somewhere. Okay, so let's bring up though, I'm going to bring up over here. This is Recipe Community, okay? Now this is actually where I took the recipe from, as I made mention. I do need to though do a little jig here, and I need to, because I can't see my mouse cursor, make sure I can move it down. So what I did to start off with is I actually went to, just moving around to grab this. There it is. I went to Recipe Community and I typed in hummingbird cake because I wasn't sure what I was doing. Hitting search. Now when I did that, I've got a selection of recipes to choose from, and they're quite well rated, so it's a bit tricky to work out which one to use. However, when I'm deciding which one to use, there's a couple of things I'm looking for. The first thing I'm looking for is a recipe that is already broken into steps. Now, if I open a recipe, I'm going to view recipe here on this one. I've just picked a random one. They're well rated, so it's pretty safe. But can you see the method is one big paragraph, and the icing is one big paragraph? That's not ideal when we go to add it to Cookie Dough, because we end up with a big paragraph we've got to, type in ourselves then pretty much the steps. So let's hit the back arrow. And you can go through, but what I went through and I found this beautifully presented one here, and yes, it's a vegan one, yes, it's going to be different, but I wanted to use this as the base. So I went view recipe, and I looked at this one, and not only was it pretty, but most importantly, it had these steps. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, frosting, decorating, etc. That's how I chose, first of all, the base recipe I was going to start with on Recipe Community, is I grabbed one that already had steps in place. The ingredients were going to be different, yes, but the method was going to be somewhat similar. From here, I went add to Cookie Dough, all right, and it will put it on my Cookie Dough platform. Now, I obviously don't need to do that right now. I've already done it. So let's jump over to my platform. Now, when I got it over here, all right, it needed to have a few adjustments. I'll just push the pencil. First thing is the picture. Now the picture I literally just added before I jumped online with you because I didn't have it till the cake was done. Yeah, does that make sense? So I had to leave hers for a little while, and I'm sure her recipe was amazing, but I was using somebody else's ingredients and needed some methods of guidance. Now when I came through, the first thing could stay. Preheat oven, not a problem. 2 tins, not a problem. What I did need to start editing was I needed to edit my ingredient list using the pencil. Oh, hang on, I'm having a bit of trouble with the screen. There we go. So I needed to actually grab this little pencil and edit my ingredients so that it matched. Okay, I also needed to go to the prep steps then and put in my steps. So the underlined things therefore match an ingredient. When I click on them on the screen of my Thermomix, it will actually match up. So I'm just going to get rid of that for a second. If I come to start cooking on my screen, and you're going to see this in a second, so I won't spend too long on it, but when I start going through, the underlying things mean that the scales are going to come up, or in the case of the speed is going to come up. Nothing will come across from Recipe Community with this pre-populated. You have to take the time to delete out the existing step and then push the little speed symbol and enter the step in so that it becomes guided. You will see through the video where I actually didn't have the bicarb listed correctly. I didn't have it as something to click on and tell me how much. I went back in, now it's correct. Okay, so when you look at it later, it is correct. But that's something that no matter what recipe, I think if you pull it from Cookie Dough, it might hold it, but everything else, you have to add it in, okay? But it's beautiful because when I click on it, it now comes up with the pineapple. It tells me how much, it comes up with scales, yeah? And when I close that down and I come up with the 2 seconds speed 4.5, I don't have to remember 2 seconds 4.5 because I'll forget it. It does it. 2 seconds, turn speed selected as 4.5. See, it's there. So once you've taken 10 minutes to enter everything in, link it up, push done, then it's able to come over to your TM6. If you are on a TM5, I'm sorry, it can't come over to your machine. Whether that's something of the future, I don't know, but that's beyond me. So that is the context of what you're about to see in this video, making hummingbird cake. There is lots of tips in there. You'll see that as a real life video from me, there are fumbles and grumbles and all that sort of stuff, but that's just how they go with me. So I hope this is kind of giving you the background on what you can do. If you've not tried it, give it a go. Either altering Cookie Dough recipes or Recipe Community recipes is a good place to start. Or yes, if it's really simple, you can type it in yourself as well. But otherwise, find something similar and just convert it. Otherwise, if you've got questions, let me know. I hope you really enjoy this video. I hope it gives you skills and confidence and you give it a go because it was really tasty. Anyway, take care. I'm here to help if you need me, so get in touch. Talk soon. Bye. Hello. Today I'm going to make this yummy hummingbird cake. Now I have converted it from an online recipe onto Cookie Dough. I am curious to see if the capacity fits in the bowl, and I'm really excited to taste it when it's done with its beautiful cream cheese icing and layers. So come with me today, let's do this. So first thing it asks for is, you'll notice it looks a little different on the guided recipes that you've written yourself. It goes sideways. So there's a little box to that little circle over there. I'm going to push the arrow and it takes me to the first step. Now hopefully I've programmed this correctly and I'll soon find out. So preheat the oven to 170 degrees, grease to 18 centimeter round pans or cupcake containers. I'm going to do big ones. I'm going to make a big fancy cake today. We don't do cakes very often, so when we do, let's do it good, hey? All right, we go sideways in these recipes. Place pineapple into the mixing bowl and chop 2 seconds, speed 4.5. Now you can see that pineapple is underlined. That's my indication that it's part of an ingredient step. I can click on that and it will come up then down the side with what I need. It says a 250 gram fresh pineapple pieces. So it's can be exchanged for canned. Now it doesn't say, it doesn't say drained or not. I'm going to assume that they're drained, that that's what they're after. So let's put these in. I have half a can remaining here. So I'll scrape that in without putting too much juice in. Now the problem with too much juice, I should have done this over the sink beforehand, I realise now. I thought we put the juice in when I made a cake with pineapple the other day, which was the Oha carrot cake with pineapple. It's beautiful, by the way, and we turned it into a slice. Highly recommended. It just reuses half the can. Okay, so that's why I had half a can, but you actually chuck in the liquid, which this one does not suggest that. So I'm just trying to, these are little chunks, by the way, it's not crushed. I reckon you could use the crushed. It's going to be a little short. I have another can here I'm tempted to open it up, but for 80 grams, I don't think I'll worry today. Okay, totally up to you. So yeah, so it says that it could be fresh pineapple pieces or canned crushed pineapple, and it says 275. So as I said, for that 80 grams, not gonna worry. Okay, now we push the close button up the top corner. I need to clean my screen, it's a bit dirty, it's got sticky fingers. Now it's asking for 2 seconds at speed 4.5. Now I'm tempted to shortcut this timing just a whisker, just because we've got canned, not fresh. Canned is going to be softer, yeah? So let's just, actually we will do 2 seconds. Let's just go speed 3 though. I don't want to completely lose texture, just the way I'm thinking. I like to share my thinking so that you understand why I do what I do. So we want to kind of crush it, but not crush it so much that it becomes a slosh. I don't think that did anything, so maybe I should follow the recipe. Let's hit the back arrow and just follow the recipe that I've put in, hey? Let's do that. So close that, bring it up again, 2 seconds, 4.5. Let's go 4.5. Let's see how we go. That sounds better already. Okay, so that's sounding much better. Should just trust the recipe and have a look. Let's have a look. Yeah, so that's semi, like it's crushed, but it's not crushed. If you had crushed pineapple, I can just chuck it in as it is, yeah? Okay, close that off. Now we go sideways and we've got add bananas, and it says 4 ripe bananas, approximately 420 grams. Mine are frozen. This may affect actually how this cake goes, but frozen's all I have. I refuse to buy fresh ones when we've got a tree and the kids get to the end of the bunch and just leave them because they're overdone, like they've had enough. So I freeze them. I get them to peel them all and freeze them. So that's where we then get ice cream and things like that from. So it will change that final texture a smidgen, although I look like I'm going to be short on this as well. I'm just going to roll with it today, guys. Being thicker, it's going to probably mix a bit harder, but we'll see how we go. All right, we're only halfway there. That's kind of the nature of doing your banana and stuff, isn't it though? Like, I mean, they gave you a weight, which I'm kind of grateful for, but when you think about it, like often you see a recipe and that's about 140 grams short, so about a third missing. But often you do see a recipe where it says 3 bananas, but they don't give you a weight. So we're going to go next. I had a little person at the door, and we're going to now put this on, and 5 seconds, speed 5. So up we go again. And let's blitz this down for a second. Okay, let's go. Now this is a rather large recipe. I reckon if you wanted to do this in a slab tray, it would be ideal. Just my thought. There you go, look at that. It's got a bit of texture. I can still see the pineapple in it. All right. So next up we have sweetener. So it says brown sugar. It says a fair bit. Between this and the next step, it actually has 350 grams. You guys know that when I get the chance to pull this down, I will. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put raw sugar in because that's all I've got. All right, and I'm just going to I'll put in 220. Now the reason I'm not going really light, like ideally I would normally go like 100, right? Like in a cake, 100's kind of my cap. But, oh, look at that. My thinking behind it is, you do need sugar to help it set. All right, so it's like, it's not toffee, but it's kind of like toffee in a lot of regards, sugar. So if you completely remove that down and you don't have anything that caramelizes and sets, that's when our cakes remain super gooey. Okay, now, super gooey is not terrible. You can recycle it and you might love it as it is. You might put it into, with custard over the top into more like a pudding. Like, it's not the end of the world. We never throw our food out when we make something with Thermomix. If you're stuck, you call me. But that's just my thinking behind it, okay? Veggie oil, 120 grams. I've actually got macadamia oil today. That's just what I've got on hand. You want a flavorless oil. Oops, got to reset those scales. Please don't use olive oil. You will regret that, okay? Because olive oil is a strong flavor, okay? If you could use grapeseed oil, sunflower seed oil, veggie oil on its own is not great. So I don't know that you guys will have ever, in my time doing these videos over the last 5 years, ever seen me use veggie oil, okay? Because it's such a processed oil that it's not great. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. So that's why. Okay, so when it says veggie oil, straight away just think flavorless oil, least flavor possible. Okay, all right, there are a lot of flavors in this. I'm not going to try it ever with olive oil. I'll go out of my way not to. But if that's all you had, you could possibly get away with it. Like, you've got cinnamon coming up, you've got pineapple, you've got things in it. You just have to run the risk of it overbearing everything else. So next up, butter. 112 grams. That's a bit precise, isn't it? I'm just going to go anywhere close to there. So I am cutting it into thinner strips because I'm aware of the fact that we're going to blitz this up. And mine's just come out of the fridge, out of the cold drawer on the fridge. And when I say thin, like they're that big. And usually if it was the first ingredient in with the sugar and I was creaming it or something, it would be fine. But being that I've already got banana and passion fruit, pineapple, wrong thing, in there, I do want to make it a little bit smaller so that it can kind of make sure it all gets chopped into the food and we don't end up with some banana hunks in, not banana, butter chunks in there later on, okay? So that's why, again, teaching you my reasoning, that's why I slice it thinner than what I would normally do if I was chucking it into a recipe. Okay, 3 eggs. Now it calls for an egg white in a second. You guys reading my mind that Lisa's not going to just chuck an egg white in. I don't understand the science behind why they want that in there. I'll let you know if this completely fails. It doesn't cook through. Sometimes your cake recipes, your banana cakes, your carrot cakes, sweet potato cakes, those sorts of things, no matter how long you cook them, they will not cook through if your soft food, your carrot, your banana, was too heavy compared to the rest of the cake, because it just can't. Okay, it can't cook that banana in the bottom of it. It just can't get through there. It'll just stay soggy. So sometimes if you've ever made a banana bread and you've got that sogginess to the bottom and you're like, hey, I cooked it for an extra 15 minutes, that's why. You could have cooked it for another hour. It would have destroyed the cake mix part of it, but that layer just won't cook. And that's why, okay? So just a left way. I'm not too worried. I didn't have enough banana dough, didn't have enough pineapple. I wasn't gonna let that stop me making the cake. Actually, I thought I was closer anyway than what I was, but I still would have made it regardless. But that's sometimes why. So just a little FYI to put that in the back of your mind, that if you're ever making a cake with those softer substances, don't go heavy on them, okay? Light is okay, heavier, you just won't get it cooked. It will stay too dense. 3 eggs, an egg white. I told you I'm going to skip that out. Oh, it says vanilla. I didn't bring it in. I'm just going to skip it out, okay? At the moment, my kitchen is a long way away from here. It's not even, actually, it's the storeroom in the other end of the house is currently my pantry. Okay, we're going to put this lid on and we've got 10 seconds, speed 4. So I'm going to spin that up and it's going to mix that through. See me looking around there having a little moment of like, where did I put them? So we got bicarb, baking powder and salt coming in next, I think. Doesn't that look lovely? Beautiful in there. All right, next. So we've got, flour. Before we get to that, forgot we hadn't put the flour in. This is a really big cake, okay? So it's gonna require some spatula mixing most likely when we get to the end. All right, so just letting you know now, have your spatula ready. Could be wrong. Okay, it's plain flour. It's 325 grams. I do like making larger recipes. It goes a bit further, right? And you can freeze this. You can wrap it in Glad wrap. Yep, that's right. And freeze it. So you certainly can do that if you need to. Okay, I've linked something incorrectly. Can you guys see in the recipe where it says just bicarb? It doesn't actually say how much. So I put a link across wrong. This is where I will reach for my phone, excuse me, and I'm going to bring up the recipe and I'm just going to see, because I've done the link in Cookie Dough 3.0 incorrectly. Let's see what it's supposed to be. Here we go. It is half a teaspoon of bicarb of soda. That's okay. So half a teaspoon of this. I'm just guesstimating. Okay. Half a teaspoon. Looks about right. Okay, now we've got, next up, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. In essence, this is turning it into self-raising. Okay, it's giving it fluff. There's one. You can see I'm very precise. and a half, plus a tiny bit more because that felt like it was a bit light on. Then we've got some salt. Do we? Not yet. Not yet on the salt. We've got, let's close that up. It's on the screen here. I could have just looked there. So bicarb, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Funny story, accidentally filled the cinnamon container the other week with paprika. Whoops. Yep. Anyway, it's sorted now. 1.5. That felt like a little bit closer to 2. Mind you, I don't have nutmeg. I'll buy that one day. I'll put it on the shopping list. I don't love it, and so it gets neglected. Okay? And combine. I think I've missed the salt out. Salt, where'd that phone go? So it is important you go back and check your recipe. It could be on the next step. As I said, I'm not hugely familiar with this. I'm excited for it though. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, it says. So in that goes. So I need to go back into Cookie Do 3.0 and edit this. Okay, before I share it with anybody. Okay, let's get the lid on and let's mix this through. And I've left my nutmeg out, obviously. So it's got a mixture of 20 seconds, speed 5. And it says, if you need to, stir it at the end with a spatula. Simple as it is. How cool is that? Now, I am going to take some photos once I've got it in the cake containers. I can see there's a bit of pineapple stuck up the top. Now, a couple of comments as I've now made this recipe for the first time today, so it's not something I am familiar with making. If you like texture in your food, so say you like to taste the pineapple chunk, my suggestion would be to edit this recipe and start at the step with the banana. Oh well, unless you like banana chunks too. Okay, if you like the chunks of bananas, stop that and start at the next step. And then when you come to now, when you've got a cake batter, then put your pineapple pieces or your crushed pineapple that comes out of the tin crushed and drained, stir it through now with your spatula and slice / roughly mash if you like, whatever texture you preference for your banana into the mix now. Okay, so that would be my suggestion. If you like those bits of fruit that you can see in a cake, that's the way to do it. So take them out of the beginning of the recipe and hand mix them in at the end. So you're making your cake batter and then you're stirring it through. Okay, so I'm going to get these in a cake container. I will take a photo of that. I'll put them in the oven. They're going to cook. I'm actually going to use something called the sensor. It's a little tool that helps me take the guesswork out of it. But it is going to cook for 45 minutes approximately until that skewer comes out. It is a 170-degree oven. If you're doing cupcakes, it's 20 minutes. Once they're out the oven and cool, I will come back to you. We're going to make cream cheese icing together. That might need to set, and then I will ice it and take you through that final process. So let me get this going now, and I'll see you again later. Okay, I'm back, and I've got one of the cakes here out of the oven. I couldn't find my second dish, so I've had to do it amongst, use the same one twice. Bit of a longer process than usual. Ideally, 2 cake containers the same size and in the oven at the same time. Anyway, is what it is. So let the cakes cool until you make the frosting. I'm going to cool the frosting instead, if that makes sense. I'm going to go backwards and if I need to, and then I'll show you the assembly later. Insert the butterfly whisk. Okay, now your butterfly. You find the high blades. So at the moment, the high blades are going, where's my finger? This way. No. Can I do this? I'm going to show you with this. They're the high blades. Okay, so you go to find the high blades, and then you go behind the knuckle. So one of those blades has a bit that sticks up. This one has a tip that sticks up. This one on the opposing side has a knuckle that sticks up. I really can't go backwards. There we go, there. Can't do it on camera. I have to show you by looking down. The other 2 blades go downwards. You're not going to find them at all. You want that knuckle, and you go on the back side. Okay, so you're going on the back side of those high blades. That's how you find where the butterfly goes. If you get the wrong side, it's not the end of the world, okay? Butterfly is always used for aerating of things. It's always a soft or a smooth thing to aerate. So now we're going to bring up our scales, and We're going to use, first of all, it says 215 grams of cream cheese. So cut this into chunks. I did have this out. If your cream cheese is super hard, I would suggest whipping it up without the butterfly in first is usually a good idea, or that's probably what I would do. I'd whip it first without butterfly. That lets it soften, and then add the butterfly in when there's no chunks. Mine's relatively soft, so I need a bit more. By the way, another tip with the cream cheese icing. So on the weekend I told you I made the aroha carrot slice. It's a cake, but I made it as a slice. We were heading out the door and it was still a little warm, but I just made icing, but it was so runny. And so all I did is I put another chunk. So it was pretty similar to this. So I just put another chunk of cream cheese in it. It was the same process. It was cream cheese, butter, icing sugar. I had milled down my own icing sugar. Not recommended for buttercream icing, only because 80 grams of butter. Only because there's still just a smidgen of that sugar particle left. So it is a little bit chewy. Not chewy, grainy. But you know what? Not a single person said to me that it tasted like that. So, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, I could see it. I could not see it. I could taste it. No one else noticed. If you're doing a whole birthday cake or something, then it might be a bit grainy. Okay. All right, 80 grams. I'm cutting them a little bit thin because my butter is still a bit more dense than it could be if it was softened. Just watching their scales. 80 grams. There you go. And then you'll notice I don't get too hung up on the plus or minuses. Close enough. Okay, close that up. Now we're going to blitz this down. So we've got 20 seconds, speed 3. Now your butterfly will never go above speed 4. If you go above speed 4, it will fly off. It will get wings and take flight. Okay, so stay under speed 4. Always stay close on this step too. If your butter's super hard, you're going to need to stop it, remove the butterfly and smooth it. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so speed 3, off it goes. I'm going to listen. It's fine at the moment. Have a look. Okay. If it goes to bounce off, I'll push the selector to stop. Always hang around. Oh, look at that. So one of those hunks of butter has got stuck. That's okay. It's no big deal. I did wonder. You guys knew that from the way I was talking. So all I'll do is I'll grab my spatula, scrape off that butterfly, and I'll show you how to do it. It's the hunks of butter. Well, maybe I don't. No, there they are. There's the hunks of butter. And the butter has stuck together. So if I take this out, just make sure the butter's in there. It doesn't matter so much for the, like, see that there? Do you guys see that on the end of the spatula? A big hunk of butter. It doesn't matter so much for the cream cheese. It's already smooth. It's really the hunk of butter. Kind of glad I get to see these things with you because it means that you know how to fix these or probably troubleshoot when the odd occasion happens, okay? There's still, like, food on there, but it's not big hunks of stuff, okay? So all I'm going to do, put that down. I'm going to put the lid back on. We're going to spin it back up. Okay? We're going to go a bit higher. Can you hear that it's done? That it's free spinning out to the side? Tells us it's smooth. There could be a chunk up the side still, which I'll scrape down and grab in if there is. But, now, look at that. There's one little chunk here. I'll just show you. You see that? There's no big hunks. I'm happy with that. So back in behind those high set of blades. Just in there. Okay. Oh, it's tasty. All right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to close this step. I'm going to reopen it. Make sure that's all the way down. And let's do it again. Oh, cream cheese on the camera. Oops. All right, let's do it again. All right. Speed 3.5. 3? 3. Must have been. Or is it 3.5? No, it's 3. Just going to watch it. It's doing good. Tastes like cream cheese. It just tastes a bit bitter at the moment. We're going to put vanilla in today. You can put lemon in. You can put other flavours. You can make a chocolate one if you like. I don't think it'll go very well with a hummingbird cake though, so we won't go too crazy. But I said we're going to put icing sugar in. Now I don't buy icing sugar very often. I particularly put it on the shopping list for this cake because I knew that I needed it for this, just because it stops that grindiness of the grains in the sugar. All right, so now, is this 500 grams? Excellent. Next step, we're going to add our 500 grams of icing sugar. By the way, the original recipe I took this from called for 1 kilo with everything doubled. I decided that seemed a little excessive, so I didn't do that. All right, so let's put this in around those blades. We'll scrape down the sides in a minute as well to make sure it all incorporates beautifully. Okay. Done. I didn't even bring the scales up for that. I presume it's pretty close. I need to get my vanilla. I forgot to bring it over. It's just here. Now, vanilla, I make my own. There is a vanilla paste recipe on Cookie Do. I actually just put it in some cheap vodka and I put it in a pretty bottle. Okay, it's 1 teaspoon of this. And as I said, you could put a squeeze of lemon juice if that's your preference. That's always yummy on like a carrot cake when you put your lemon juice. All right, now go next. Close that. I never cleaned off the screen in between. And then back we go. Oh no. Hang on guys, I jumped ahead. Start cooking. Give it a second. Oh, there we go. All right, let's get to the step we were up to. So unlike your other guided recipes, there it is. You do need to scroll through. You can't just scroll down and find it. Okay, you'll need to actually do what I did then. All right. Scrape this down. I've just pushed it into the bowl a little bit. I will do another repeat on this step so we catch it all in. And let's spin it up. Speed 3 again because we're no higher than 4 with the butterfly. Stay close so we can check it's all going to whip okay. You can see the butterflies having a little think about, is this going to work? I'll give it a second more. Okay, so what's happening here is my mix is too thick and the butterfly is going, I can't move. Just give it a scrape. If it does continue to have that trouble, because it is a lot of buttercream in here, it's going to look phenomenal whipped. I can't wait to show you. But if it does continue like that, we take out the butterfly just like we did before. Exactly the same process. Just trying to see if there's a hunk of something in there. Exactly the same process and whip it up. There we go. Whip it up without the butterfly in and then add the butterfly. So let's just try one more time. If it won't work, that'll be our fix. Oh, it tastes sweet now. Back up to speed 3. It's only got 2 seconds to go. I will grab that timer. No, okay, so it's not going to go. You can hear it. It's trying to put more power to it and it's not doing it. So simple fix. You saw it before. I'll do it again. This time I'll take some of the cream cheese. See how I'm jiggling it, by the way? Back and forth. That's trying to dislodge it from under the blades. I was going to try and take some of that off. I don't know that I can take some of that off. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to whip what's in the bowl and let that whip itself off in a minute. Excuse the fingers, it's yummy. I'm just not going to drip it on the floor though. All right, up to speed 3. Yum. Now it's whipping up. That's what we want, okay? I'm just going to go a bit faster. Just make sure there's no lumps in it, all right? I want to get rid of, no, it doesn't matter if there's a few lumps because this is going to cream. But if there was a hunk of butter that was hiding under the blade, causing that to not go before, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, let's put this back in. Find those high blades again. I can see them there. They're sitting there looking at me. Make sure it's all the way down. Lick off the stuff you make a mess with. Better than putting your greasy fingers everywhere, right? Now we're going to go up to speed 3. And I might put another couple of seconds on. And this time, let it go. I'm going to put that up to speed 4. Whip it a bit more. Beautiful. It's taking off nicely. Now what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm actually going to scrape in this spatula. There's a whole lot of wasted food here and I don't like wasting it. So I'm just going to take this. Oh, I'm going to put this in it as well. And then we're going to remix it again. Okay, and this will finish it off. Then I can put it in the fridge. At the moment it's actually thick enough that I could pipe it. Like if you look at that texture, okay, so I could pipe that or I could spread it on a cake. But I'll put it in the fridge and then I'll take it out with 5 minutes to go and then I'll put it on the cake and I'll show you that process. So up to, I'm going to put it on 10 seconds again, up to speed 4. I like to whip on 4 with the butterfly. Getting those last lumps in. I'm on a table, it's moving. Sorry guys. You can hear that it's nicely spinning that all out. It's what we want. I'm holding the microphone in one hand. Go Thermomix camera in the other. And we're done. Buttercream icing, really simple. Okay, as I said, if you need it quickly, put some more cream cheese into it. It does make it a little bit sour, more sour, but it thickens it up to like quite thick. All right, so you can spread it on. It's going to stay exactly where you put it. At this point in time, it's pretty good anyway. Okay, it's dollopy. That's what we're looking for. So, cream cheese icing, super easy. I will come back soon in the next video, very shortly, and I will show you how I'm going to assemble it. But that's Hummingbird cake. How cool is this? I'm so excited to try it and see what it's all about. Icing's pretty good. Can't tell you about the cake. It wasn't done when I finished before, so I'm excited to cut this soon as well and show you. So otherwise, I'll see you in the next video shortly. See you soon. Okay, welcome back. It's time to finish up the cake. Now I haven't left it long enough, okay? As I said, I've used one cake container to make the 2 different batches, okay? One batch split into 2. And that has put me well behind. Kids are busting for afternoon tea, and here I am with a hot cake. I've got this one's nice and cool, okay? This one's warm. So I wouldn't suggest ever doing this, but today I'm gonna do it because otherwise they're gonna eat me alive. So let's get this icing ready. Let's put this on the cake. So first things first is we're gonna grab out probably just under half the icing. I didn't refrigerate the icing either. This is gonna be really soft, really quick. This bit, because remember we've got cream cheese and we've got butter. So they're just gonna melt. I probably don't wanna push it all the way out to the sides because it's gonna run off the cake, yeah? We don't want that. So I'm just gonna put enough to get to the sides. As I said, the top one will be all right. It's cool. It was the first cake out before I put the second one in. All right, it's actually not running off as terribly as I thought it would be. I've left that quite short of the sides, and now I'm gonna put this one in place. And now we'll get the rest of this batter in. So, now you'll notice if you try and do this, your butterfly is quite irritating to work around, but take out what you can with the butterfly there. And then we're gonna spin it up to speed 4, which is our max speed of the butterfly. And we'll get the remaining off, okay, if we can, without this cake running away. Can you see the top falling off it? Come back, come back. You put this in place, you put this back in here, and we just go up to speed 4. It'll just pull that out the sides. Can you see it coming down the sides now? It's barking my cake. It looks like just crumbling down the sides. That's all right. They won't mind, thankfully. You do have to make sure it doesn't fall off the side. A little pro tip is a toothpick. I'm not going to grab one now. Obviously, I don't have one here in this space. I don't even have one in my kitchen usually, but I'm not in my kitchen. So I'm not going to spend too long fiddling with this because it's hot and it's running away. So I will let the husband scrape that bowl out later and eat it. I'm just going to push this icing out to the side. You could make this run down the sides if you'd like. It's as much as the top is cool enough, it will be quite pretty. That rough edge these days is quite a thing. And then I'm just going to get some pecans and just put them around the edge. I'm running off, guys. Never had this problem before. That's what happens when you try and hurry cakes. Not advisable. And then you're literally done. That is your hummingbird cake. Make sure you let it cool before you try and ice it because butter, cream cheese, heat, they don't like each other very much. So that's super easy. As I said, I've lots of tips in here about, if you'd like more texture to kind of reverse those orders around and stuff like that. But hummingbird cake, let's call it runaway style. Easy and quick in the Thermomix. I'm sure it's going to taste amazing. I'll let you know. But I hope you give this a go and let me know what you think. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed. Take care and I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.